Alright, what's up, folks? Rich Van Tassel with you, giving you the recap of last night's game. The Falcons with the 2017 victory over the Saints. Atlanta is now 8-5. New Orleans drops to 9-4. I didn't do the recap last night, but I did basically watch the whole game. Drew Brees, 26 of 35, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That interception was costly. It happened in the end zone when they were in field goal range with a chance to tie. Mark Ingram, 12 rushes, 49 yards, 4.1. Drew Brees, 1 for 2. Alvin Kamara, 1 for 2. He left the game. Ted Ginn Jr., 1 for -3. So Ingram was pretty effective, but the team altogether, 15 of 50, 3.3 yards per rush. We'll talk about that in a moment. Michael Thomas, 10 receptions, 117 yards, 1 touchdown. Mark Ingram, 4 of 43. Brandon Coleman, 2 of 32. Tommy Lee Lewis, 2 of 30. He had the other touchdown. There were no fumbles, 1 sack. It was Haluya Kakaka. Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Williams, Chris Banjo all had interceptions. Tommy Lee Lewis, 5 kick returns, 121 yards, 24.2 average, which is okay. But he had a 36-yarder, so you take that off, the average goes down significantly. That would be 4 for 85, which is just over 21, which isn't really that good. Will Lutz made his only field goal attempt for the Falcons. Matt Ryan, that is, 15 to 27, 221 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Devontae Freeman, 24 carries, 91 yards, 3.8 per rush. Tevin Coleman, 9 of 32, 3.6. Freeman had a touchdown. The team 37 of 132, 3.6 yards per rush. Julio Jones, 5 for 98. Receiving, Mohamed Sanu, 6 of 83, a touchdown. Austin Hooper, 2 of 23. Devontae Freeman fumbled once, it was not lost. 2 sacks, Adrian Claiborne and Dontari Poe. Deion Jones had the interception. Andre Roberts, 2 kick returns, 61 yards. Longest of 36, however, on a 30.5 average, so the 30.5 isn't that bad. You take the 36 off, that other one's 25, so that's actually pretty good on 2 kick returns. He had 2 punt returns for 4 yards. Matt Bryant, 2 for 2 in his field goals. So a lot to break into with this game. Atlanta had the 3 turnovers. Some of the interceptions were bobbled, so that Matt Ryan threw and ended up in the guy's hands. One of them was bad in the end zone. So both teams had interceptions in the end zone. Unfortunately, New Orleans came at the worst time. Regardless of how, I'm not putting this on Matt Ryan. I'm just saying though, you have 3 turnovers, you have 3 interceptions. One of them led the points. The other one, there was a missed opportunity at the end with the half with a field goal. Not enough guys on the line of scrimmage or too many men in the backfield, whichever term you want to use. You don't see that often on field goals. It's tough. I didn't like the officiating in this game at all. They, of course, called a penalty on Sean Payton trying to get the timeout. That essentially ended the game. I don't really want to talk about that too much. But, Atlanta, I believe, had 9 first downs on penalties, so that mitigates the turnovers a bit. New Orleans, Ingram was over 4 yards per carry. The other guys only had the rushes. Kamara went out. Atlanta was well below 4 yards per carry, but ran the ball, 2.5 times more than the Saints did. So they were able to control the clock. But the thing with New Orleans to me is their offense was fairly crisp. They were moving, but they would get to 2nd and 2, and then on 3rd down they just wouldn't get it or something like that. Or they'd have a penalty here or there or whatever. It's just everything was happening at the worst possible time on offense that was taking them out of their grooves in this situation. The penalties were huge, and you look at 3rd down, Atlanta 7 for 12, New Orleans 3 of 10. Just as I was saying. And then the penalties, 11 of 87 for the Saints, 4 of 35 for the Falcons. And a lot of those penalties led to first downs for the Falcons. There was one, the Falcons had a holding call, made it 1st and 20, and then what I thought was a bad call on a screen pass, the linebacker was coming through and, knocked the running back to the ground, and they called the holding penalty on that. I get that you see a guy on the ground, but the officiating, they've got to use some discretion in these things. You can't just look at it and say, oh, we see a guy on the ground. Holding to me is, as we said on offense, you grab a guy who's trying to go around you for the quarterback. Holding, I don't, if you're a wide receiver, if we're talking about defensive holding, you grab a guy as he's going downfield. You know what I mean? Holding, to me, the essence of the holding penalty is you prevent a guy, you're behind a guy, or either like if you're at a side of a guy, you're keeping him from getting to a position that you're behind him trying to get to. In that case, where you're trying to run through the hole, you're coming through the lineman just as the running back is. It looked like they just didn't see each other and they collided. That to me is not a holding penalty, but that's how you, if you're Atlanta, that's how you're able to win a game. When you turn the ball over 3 times, you have a turnover in the end zone. In that case, you have turnovers that lead to points. And then there was the penalty, of course, on the field goal. That's how you come away with it. So Atlanta's still right there. They technically still control their own destiny for the division. And I believe the playoffs, yeah, I guess so. If we're just talking about a wild card outside of the division. But New Orleans will play them at home, so we'll see what happens moving forward. All right, come tomorrow, we'll give you the preview for the rest and the game picks for the rest of this week in the NFL season. Be sure to stay tuned for that. I'm not sure if we have any Saturday game. I think that starts after this week, but we'll bring you those. And remember, we appreciate all subscriptions as well. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.